Making life worth living and retirement worth having is really about who you are, what you do, what you say, how you perform in life, and how many relationships you make that are truly healthy, that are truly authentic, that are truly real. What I mean by that is that it's easy for someone who's famous to have 10,000, 20,000 Facebook friends. The reality is, though, they're not really totally in those people's lives. They might be impacting them with their wisdom, like Brene Brown. They might be impacting them with their understanding of business, like Dr. John Maxwell. They might be impacting people's souls in some way to raise them up or make them feel better, like a lot of the metaphysical instructors that are out there, like Dennis Waitley, or the sales gurus like Brian Tracy. And I guess I'm old school because I like those folks a lot. But the truth is that in life, we've got a moment in time to prove who we are to the people that we have walked with, the people we've talked with, the people we've held hands with in prayer, and the people that really are in our life circle. Now, the question is, who decides who's in our life circle? Do we, as a human being, decide who's in our life circle, or does the Lord in heaven say, this person is in your life circle? You see, in my book, Soul Keepers, I talk a lot about how people come into our lives based on prayer. And a lot of times those people that come into our life aren't at all what we expect. They're not at all who we think it should be, or they don't exactly look like we think they should. But what we discover is that the Lord is still within their souls. And how you discover that is based on how they love on you. And in life, love is something that is shown. Love is something that is demonstrated. Love is something that is prayed for. Love is something that is hoped for. Love is something that most people in life really want in their life, even if they say they don't. The reality is, though, how you love on people is done in a variety of ways. It's done first and foremost in the parameters by which you meet them. It's also done first and foremost in whether or not your rights are involuntarying or violating the other person's rights. You see, it's easy to make a social interaction with someone in the real world. It's easy to open up a stranger to talk. It's a little harder sometimes to get their phone number, to get their contact information. That is an art in itself of literally of a wheel of trust that we move forward little by little, comfortably, both of us, until we're like, hey, I like this person enough to give them my cell phone. Hey, I like this person enough to go to their home. Hey, I like this person enough to buy them a lunch. Hey, I like this person enough to go out to dinner with them. Hey, I like this person enough to have mad, crazy texts with them all the time. I like this person enough to have them in my Facebook circle. I like this person enough to be in their LinkedIn. And I like this person enough to receive the honor of becoming their legal heir to their life. But what's amazing to me is that the people who are around those people who start to infiltrate and say, that's weird, that's unusual, that's different, and they just totally destroy the rights of two people that God places together to get together for the reasons for which the Lord placed them on each another's path. You see, you can't say you believe in a divine architect if you don't believe that just about everything in your life is planned or could be planned. You see, when you start to plan your life without thinking about God, without praying to God, without meditating with God about what you should and shouldn't do to another human being's life, you're really not in God's house at all. What I have learned is live and let live is a good policy. I've also learned that do no harm is another good policy. And I've also learned that when you have a breakdown in communication, the only thing to do is literally to pick up the phone and say, hey, let's get together to a meal and talk this through. There are people in this world who prefer to make chaos. There are people in this world who prefer to be a drama McQueen. There are people in this world who prefer to involve every stranger there is out there in their relationship with someone, but they're unwilling to go to them, as it says in the Bible, and says, hey, we've sort of had this situation happen. I'm not really sure what's going on with it, and I think we need to talk it out and put it back to rights. You see, that's what a loving person who's in God's house does. And if that attempt doesn't work, then we reach out to other people. But here's the crazy thing, that we have people in this land who lie, steal, and cheat people of their rights. We have people who pretend to be other people in identity theft. We have people who pretend to be other people in fraudulent uses of old names that don't belong to them to utilize at all. We have people who literally ruin the rights of witness protection people because they just gossip their little heart out to whoever they think about in their circle of work or to some law enforcement officer that goes in and solicits them, and they don't ever think about Is it my right to disclose this information about what this person did, what this person said, what this person is doing? At the same time, we have people on the other end of the spectrum who have no rights to give away private healthcare information, and yet they think it's my right to tell this story. It's not if it's not your story. These are the rules of the Lord. These are the rules of the house of the Lord. And if you don't think so, pick up your Bible and read it. Pick up your Quran and peruse it. Pick up your, Book of Mormon and check it out. The gifts that the Lord gives us are all throughout our life. There are signs all the time for people that we are supposed to be with in our life. And if you're not getting them, then maybe you just haven't submitted enough to God. But in truth, what I'm talking about and what you're talking about may be two different things. You see, my mind is a gift from the Lord, just as your mind is a gift from the Lord. But here's what I know. The Lord does not gift people the right to damage another human being's body. The Lord does not gift the right to people to call individuals unwell. The Lord does not give the right, sorry, I'm getting stuck here. The Lord does not give the right to anyone to harm another human being, period. The Lord does not give the right for people to steal from a person while they sleep in the night. The Lord does not give the right to anyone to think they have the right to get onto their thumb drives and delete the intellectual property or the records that someone has lovingly stored for someone else. How dare you think you're doing anything in God's house if you're doing any of those things at all? As technology changes, we have to also pay attention to whether or not our godliness is still in us. It's amazing to me that I can be working so hard on technology just to try and get ahead in life that someone could literally walk up and take something from me and I wouldn't even notice until it's too late. We are all sort of like that. We can all become over-focused in what we're trying to accomplish. But what we're presuming is that society is safe. What we're presuming is that people recognize boundaries and lawfulness. But if they don't, that's the problem in the land, that our children have not learned international human rights, that we are not teaching them at every grade there is and reminding students that your rights only belong to you, your personal legal name, your personhood in terms of your physical being and your body, your paperwork in terms of your health records and school records and everything else, and your property in terms of things that you have purchased, things that you have received as presents, and other aspects of any type of property that you might pass on in bequeath in legacy. Those are your belongings. Your belongings do not go in the hands of other people just because they feel like taking them. And in life, we've got moments of time to define what theft is and what theft isn't. But bottom line, you're doing all of that in front of God in heaven. Do you really think there isn't a hell? And if you don't think there's a hell, well, bully for you, but I promise you there is. There's an absence of light. There is a dark. There is an absence of opportunities in life because the more you do to harm people, the more your opportunities will dwindle as you age. You see, in life, the Lord in heaven has the right to give you illness. In right, the Lord in heaven has the right to harm your life. In life, the Lord in heaven, who is the divine architect of all, says, I am your Lord your God, and no other shall become before me, and revenge is mine, saith the Lord. My late father was sort of a powerful man. He liked a lot of ability to wield that power throughout the lives of his wife and children. His late years, though, were spent completely as an invalid. And openly, that was God's justice to a degree. It doesn't mean my father wasn't loving and kind. It doesn't mean my father wasn't incredibly generous. It doesn't mean my father wasn't a great planner, because he planned well for me in my retirement, that's for sure. But in truth, what I'm talking about is a person's right to be themselves without someone else thinking they have the right to interfere, infiltrate, and destroy a person's legal name, records of any kind, and property. And in my lifetime, in the last few years, I've had so much property theft, so much property damaged, and so much documentation destroyed by people who just thought they had the right to lie. You see, they lie to themselves, they lie before God, they lie to me, they lie to others, and they think they're holy. They're not. In life, you have a few moments every day to prove to God what kind of person you are based on your alleged spirituality, your alleged philosophy about life. And if all you do is me, and I want this and I want that, you will not get very far in life. In life, we have a moment of time to show the Lord who you are in God's house, And I promise you, if you've done anything unlawful, to go and lie and bring up old stuff that doesn't involve current stuff and current relationships and current talk with someone else, and you do something to harm their life, you will pay for it in the end. The Lord is the judge of all people. And the Lord just might cost you your entire family. The Lord just might take somebody home that you really care about. The Lord has a right to do that. And the problem is that people don't think about the power of the Lord. The power of the Lord is amazing. And some of our best movies that are talking about mutants and other things might actually just be exposing some of the gifts that the Lord gives to people in a unique and comedic way. In life, we have moments of time to show others who we are in the house of the Lord. And if you are lying, stealing, or cheating people out of their rights to privacy, their rights to their personhood, their rights to their own paperwork, their rights to a clean record, their rights to be free and be civilly okay moving through the community without being stalked, mobbed, tracked, monitored, then most likely the Lord in heaven is going to make you pay in the end. Thanks for listening.